and a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Ishani and today's video is about negative painting for stampers. This was originally a free live workshop that I hosted as part of monthly Altenew Educator series. That's why it's also very long. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my blog so you don't miss out on my future workshops. Live workshops are quite a party. I'd love to have you join me live next time. And when you register early, you also get some great discounts on supplies. Speaking of supplies, I've put together a handy PDF with everything I used in this class. You can find it linked in my blog post, which is down in the description box. Feel free to download it and follow along at your own time. Just a little disclaimer before we start. I'm not a professional watercolor artist. I'm just somebody who loves making cards and enjoys playing with techniques that make the process easier and more fun. So if you're an experienced artist or someone who knows all the ins and outs of watercoloring, you might find that my approach is a bit different from the traditional methods. You might even catch yourself wondering, why did she do it that way? And that's totally fair. But the truth is, I go with what works for me and what gives me a result I love. That's really the heart behind this workshop, sharing something I enjoyed creating. So if you're a beginner, a card maker who loves to stretch their supplies, or someone who wants to just have fun and learn a few tips and tricks, then you're absolutely in the right place. Alright, let's get started and have some crafty fun. The first thing we have to be careful is that we need a good quality watercolor paper. I am using 300 GSM, which is equivalent to 110 pound paper. This is cold press and 100% cotton. Now this is the kind of paper you need when you need a lot of layering. This is also available on Altenew website. You may go there and get yours. I am going to start with misting my panel with water. Also you need watercolors. I am using Altenew's 24 pan set and these colors are enough for me. I'm going to use few of them. So let's go ahead and see how to do it. So first I spritz my panel with water. This is to wet the fibers. There's also going to be a lot of drying with the heat tool. If you want, you can also have your heat tool handy. Also you can let your panel air dry and make it a work which carries on for long. Also I'm going to wet my colors and I spritz water on them as well. And I'll take my cherry blossom. This is cherry blossom. And I'm going to just add some cherry blossom on top of my panel. Not very vibrant, but a little. I want some white gaps on my paper. And you'll see why I need them in some time. A little yellow. This is pocket full of sunshine. And maybe something is already mixed in it. I add some of it here. And that's it. I am just going to let this panel dry. I want a little pink, some yellows and some whites on my paper. So with my heat tool, I dry my paper. This can be abstract, it doesn't have to be very precise. You will see why I left the whites and the yellows a little later. After your panel is dry enough, now it's time to do some stamping. I am using Build a Garden Bougainvillea outline stamp set. You can use any stamp that has leaves or any large areas similar to maybe like Paint a Flower Sweet Pea by Altenew or Alluring Orchids. They have open petals. or Dazzling Flowers Sakura or if you have any stamp set which has leaves, broad leaves. If you Google negative painting, you will find many examples with leaves and the trunks of trees. Those also can be used if you have them. For today's workshop, I am going to use the bougainvillea. For that, I am also going to use a stamp wheel, or you can use any stamping platform that you have. I'm going to stamp my floral stamp set with a waterproof black ink. For that, I am using Obsidian Black, Obsidian Pigment Ink by Altenew. And this is going to be my first stamped image on my panel. Because our watercolor paper is a bit grainy, you may not have a great impression in your first stamping. So you can go ahead and stamp a second time the same impression, so your petals are more defined. You can also use other colors for stamping, maybe dark green or dark pink. If you want a no line coloring kind of effect, a dark pink will also work. But there's so many layers of water that I am scared I will lose my definition of the leaves and the petals. So I am not opting for that. And here is my first stamped. Next, what we are going to do is we are going to look for all those petals that are closest to us. For example, this petal is closest to me. Here, this petal is closest to me. This is the one closest to me. Whichever is in the foreground, closest to you, you mark those petals, or just remember that these are the petals that are closest to me. For a little, making it a little easy, I am going to add these beads. These beads will remind me that these are the petals that I don't color the first time. So negative painting actually involves coloring mostly in a single shade, various layers of paint, and you are actually like coloring outside the lines. So this may be the first time that you don't have to color inside the lines. So let's go ahead and color outside the lines. So for coloring my second panel, my second wash will be only cherry blossom. I am not going to add any yellows or any pinks. The only thing that I have to remember is not color on the petal that we have marked. So this is the petal that we marked. We are going to color outside it. It doesn't have to be a very pigmented, heavily laden brush. I want just a little light wash around my petals with cherry blossom. So this is the petal that we don't color. We go ahead around it. It doesn't have to be really precise. You may get a little paint on the leaf or the petal as well. It does not matter much. We're going to do so many layers that you will even forget what you did the first time. So here is my other petal that I don't have to color. Also, there are these petals which are quite forward, but I will color them this time. The first wash, I am going on them. And I am going on the other white that we had down under here, I'm going over it with my cherry blossom. And this doesn't have to be precise. This is like I may not be an artist, but my panel will be so good that I feel like I'm an artist. So here you go, you have your second layer. This is looking a little harsh and dirty right now, but this is going to look beautiful in some time. So this is my second layer that I have just done. Now I'm going to dry my panel again, and again I will add a third layer of watercolors. You can also go ahead and tape down your panel onto a board, but the only reason I am not doing it is because we need to dry our panel often and also stamp on it. So it is going to be a little cumbersome if we did that. And you know me, I am somebody who is lazy. I don't do so much work. Okay, so now it's time for our next wash of cherry blossoms. I've used so much tape. I should have. All right. Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you. So now we have to not color the petal which is second. So for example, this time we are going to not color this. We will 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 not color this and this. So it is up to you, whichever image you feel is after the first image that we left of coloring. Either you remember, or if you have memory like me, like my memory is of a goldfishes. So or maybe I'll color this time because it's quite behind this. And this time I am not going to color these two buds. All right, so let's go add our third layer of cherry blossom. So you see, you don't have to be an artist. Actually, we are doing something very artistry. And I want to call myself an artist, especially for this panel. And now I'm sure you're also going to call yourself an artist. It doesn't matter if it is going here or there. We just need washes of watercolor and coloring, not in the lines, but outside the lines. So, and then we color everywhere else as well, like everywhere in the bottom. Even though we don't have our petals here, we will color them. We want to bring lot of layers, change our background in this corner and this corner. Even though we don't have an image yet there, we are going to add stamp images on these two corners. If you're using any other stamp, you can have a look how do you want the design to be. Maybe you don't even have to follow what I'm doing and do something of your own, absolutely something different. Change the colors, bring the blues and greens, bring the blues with yellows and make it green. That will be very interesting. Alright, so this is almost done, my third layer. I am planning to add a fourth layer, just without stamping another layer. Without stamping another impression of my bougainvillea. I am just going to add one more layer of my cherry blossom. This time I am not doing anything new. All the places where we have the beads we will not color, and the places where we have beads we will leave it. So it is just a second round of coloring over the same thing that we did. Also, if you share after making, you share it on social media, and if you think you liked my workshop or this YouTube tutorial, I would love to see what you did, and please tag me Quillish on Instagram and Facebook, or you can even email me your work, and if you don't mind I will showcase it on my Instagram stories. I have a place in my Instagram, the highlights, where I share the work all of you do inspired by my cards, and I would love to share yours as well. Alright, so actually I've forgotten where I did. I was so busy talking, but maybe I'm doing it right, or even if I'm not doing it right, it does not matter. We are only playing, just having fun. So I did my workshop on a Saturday morning for the people in the US and people on the Eastern Hemisphere during our evening time. And if you would like to join, I would love that. We have all the amazingly talented Altenew educators sharing their talent almost every week with creative ideas to use your stash. And if you have not been watching and attending those workshops, many of them free, you may have been missing something. Alright, a lot of talking. Let me go ahead and dry this. So my panel is almost dry, and now I'm going to stamp my second impression. So how I imagine my bunch of bougainvillea flowers to look is as if this is in the foreground and the other bunch of flowers are in the background, and there is glow of the evening sun that is hitting my flowers. So for that, we're going to darken our area over the top left and brighten the one towards the bottom. Not any panel is going to look just the same. So this panel will be a little different, and I'm sure when you do it, you may not get what you think you want to achieve. You will get something very different, but that's how colors work. So for example, I had this panel and this had different highlights, and this is almost similar. Yeah, so you can even get almost similar results sometimes. So for my second stamping, I am taking an acetate sheet. I'm just putting it over my panel, and I just want to align my stamp in a way that I get some flowers on the left corner. So I think this is good. I will have these flowers at the side. Then I take my lid, stick my stamp onto it, and I'll stamp my second set of flower. So now it is time to add another layer of color, and for this again I am taking my cherry blossom, dilute it with water a bit, and this time I am only going to not color the flowers of my bunch. So now you know that this is a flower, this was a leaf, I colored it. So this is how I'm going to color my next layer. Not color the flower, but color the leaves and add depth to it, to the leaves. So this is a leaf here. I'm going to color over that. Just leave the flowers and color the leaves. Don't leave the leaves. Leaves. Oh my god. Sorry for being so silly. But okay, so I'm sure you get what I mean to say. We will color the depths. Okay, so there is this leaf that we've not colored earlier. We're going to leave this. We will, but this time let's just color it, because I want it to look a little different from the flowers. So let's add some more depth to just the leaf here. So this is the leaf that we had left, but now we will not leave this leaf. Oh my god. There are dad jokes and then there are Ishani jokes. My son says his mom jokes are worse than the dad jokes. Alright, okay. So now after the upper area is done, actually I think this area we left. Let us add some color here. And now we're going to come and add color everywhere around our flowers here in the bottom. Also here we're going to just leave the uppermost petal. For this flower we are going to leave the uppermost petal. So this is our uppermost petal. I'm sure by now you understand what I mean by leaving a petal. Then this will be our uppermost petal. So I'm going around on the leaf. Don't leave the leaf here. Okay, and here we have this one which is towards us, which is the most front. So we will not color this, but we will color all around it. So we have down in the bottom the crevice and around this. So now you see the yellow that we had added has become orange with the various layers of pink over it. But there is also white left here and there is also yellow left here, which is a lot of highlight for a flower. I love it. I want you to leave your highlights as well. I don't want you to cover all throughout the panel. Don't put color. Leave some highlights. Maybe you can go ahead before you stamp, if you're not using this bougainvillea, or if you want to have another orientation of your flower, maybe you can just go around on your panel before you add the first layer of color, and wherever you feel there can be some highlights, just like eyeball it and don't add color there, and keep it white or keep it yellow or whichever is your lightest color. That will give a great highlight without any work. Like this is the only place we have not added color, no work at all. Alright, I'll add some color here because my edge is not looking very neat. Also, you may get the blooms sometimes, like I have got blooms here where it's like a lot of water. Maybe I had a lot of water in the brush when I laid it on the paper. So just take water and remove that bloom. Because we are artists, we don't have blooms like that. We do great work. Okay, so this is my nth number layer of the color. I don't remember. I take my heat tool and go around it. Ooh. Okay, so next we can go ahead and add one more layer of cherry blossom, but this time we will not add anywhere. On our first flower we are not adding anywhere, just on the outside of a flower, no leaves. All the leaves are also left out and the flowers are also left out. All right, I'm sure you know which is my favorite color by now. Look at what has happened to the pink here. The most used color by me of this palette. All right, so I hope you're enjoying this coloring, this painting. This would probably be my 8th time that I'm coloring, and this is like so good. There is no rule actually. The only rule is don't color inside the lines, color outside the lines, and I love that rule. You can also go ahead and get a thinner brush to get inside these nooks and crannies. So here we are going behind our bush, adding our dark color because we want to create depth here. Like I told you earlier, we will have the bougainvillea branch popping out, and there will be dark area on top left. So we will create those shadows now after we add this layer. So now this is a very saturated brush. This will create blooms. So try to reduce the water. I took a lot of water this time. Reduce the water and then you will not get your blooms. The paper will warp because we are adding a lot of water. That is the reason we need 100% cotton and 300 GSM weight paper, because there is a lot of water and a lot of color layering on this flower. Now let's just color the last layer. So we will now identify the two top petals, this one here, this one and this one, and this one probably will add color here, color on the leaf and color on the third petal. So actually I had not colored here, I could have just gone along when I was coloring here. All right, this is almost done. After we color this layer, we are going to again dry our panel, and now it will be time for our third stamping, which we're going to do here. Actually this panel of mine is a little small, I can even skip stamping, but let me show you how I did, and let's try this. So my paper is quite warped now and it's not sticking very well to the sticky mat, but it doesn't matter. I'm using my tape. Again I take acetate sheet. So let me show you here. What I did for this card was orient my stamp in a way that I have various flowers at various sides. So you see this whole branch is stamped here. Then you have this flower, this is here, this along with this and a little bit of this, and so now we have this area which we can like orient our stamp in a way that another flower is stamped. So you have like organic flowers everywhere. It doesn't look like it is from the same stamp set, or probably it doesn't even look stamped. Maybe it looks like you hand drew them. I am going to add my and stamp once again. And this is a great impression this time. We can even remove our beads, they are no more needed. This adding of beads is just because I want you to know where not to color. When you are coloring, you actually, if can remember, you can go ahead and do without any marking, or maybe you can use such tapes, some small washi tapes, to add on to the petal and not waste your precious beads. Alright, so next is another layer, but this time we are not going to add pink, we are going to add purple. Purple will be our next layer, and I am going to add it only to the last petal here and around this, everywhere. So I am taking shades of purple from my palette, and you're going to add shade of purple everywhere on the top of the cardstock. So we will start with adding shade of purple here. We're just adding a little extra layer of a different color to add depth and create our shadows. And the next layer, next on this flower, I'm adding it here. Actually this petal is the frontmost, maybe we can add it here as well, but not on the stamen of this flower. Now I'm going to take a little smaller brush. Oh, did I talk about the brushes? I'm sorry, I didn't tell you about the brush. Earlier I was using a 6 number round brush, and now I'm using a 1 number round brush. And we go to these corners as well. Here behind our flowers and the leaves, only in the dark areas which is not part of our stamped image. No flower, no leaf, nothing is colored. Only the area which is behind our stamped image. Now after we have colored in purple, we are not going to extend our purple below. We're not going to add it below this. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, it was not in focus. So what I did was I added my purples here behind the flower. We left all the leaves and the flowers and added purple just around, and only half of this card panel is colored in purple. Now next what we are going to add is, we are adding summer afternoon. Water it a bit down, and now I am going to add summer afternoon to my lower half of the panel. So this way I get my evening glow with the summer afternoon. And I go around wherever I finished the purple, I go with this yellow and blend my purple and oranges together. So this is the glow that we want from our evening sky. Now this time we are not coloring at all on our lower flower. The only place we color is the bottom side, bottom right, with our yellow. You can go ahead and use any color, it does not really matter, it is up to you. Go ahead and experiment with different colors. Like maybe I have a little fiery sunset here, or maybe it's warm and cozy, and I'll take, this is a little darker color, I'll add it here to blend it with my purple. And that's it. Now here is a background. I am not very happy with how my flower is looking here, so we will just add only for the flower we are adding cherry blossom onto the leaf, one of the leaves here. Yeah. So after this dries up, we are going to add another color. We will add the browns of my pansette. We can use either Coffee Break or Delectable Delights, maybe Coffee Break. I will start with Coffee Break on top of my cardstock and then come and add Delectable Delights till here, and then create shadows just around my flower. So here I take the browns. So here I have the browns. And on top of a purple, I am adding my brown as well. This will give dark color. Also, there's so much I can talk about while we are doing this. I would love if you'd check my other videos on my YouTube channel. Also, do subscribe to my blog and join me for my live workshops when I do them. The live workshops are so fun. It's like we have a Saturday party. For me, it's a Saturday night party. Now, this is the party that I love to do. I don't want to go out on a Saturday. I want to just sit with my friends from across the world and create together. So don't forget to check out my blog, also the Altenew website, where they mention about the upcoming workshops. Also, I share a lot on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, please follow me there, or if you're on Facebook, you can follow my page Quillish on Facebook as well. And I would love to say hello to you. Drop me a message. So here I have got my brown color. I'm getting it around my flower, creating like a silhouette that blends into my evening glow. Do you see that? Also, let me add a little Delectable Delight this time for my upper flowers and get them blending into the orange fiery sunset and summer afternoon yellow sunlight. So now we are only creating our depth with the browns. So after this is done, you can add a little orange glow. Like this card of mine had a little more of orange. Let's try to recreate. I take Warm and Cozy this time and add Warm and Cozy along with the little brown that we had here, and bring in that yellow sunset orange behind our flowers. And I think this wash brings a lot of good orange. And now it's time for the next technique, a tip where you don't have to work much with the watercolors. Now let's get lazy. We don't do much work. We just look, I just look for ways, easy ways out. Sorry. So for this technique, or for this addition of color, I am using watercolor markers. These are Altenew's Tahitian Terrace. These are dual tip markers. They come in various colors. This is one pack. This has 12 colors. And for adding more interest to our panel, I am going to add some depth to my flower. So we will take the rubellite and we will take the coral berry from this set. You can use any color that matches your flower. I'm sorry if you've been hearing the aircraft noise. It is because I live just few kilometers away from an international airport and it is crazy. Alright, so we were talking about the markers here. You can take any marker which resembles or which matches your flower the closest. What we're going to do is we're going to add a little depth to our flower, like the petals need a little definition. So for that I am using my light color here, just going around my veins of the flower, the depths here. And if it is a little harsh, get some water and water it down. This is the best part of the water based markers. So there is no harsh line left, but you have achieved some depth and you can create little shadows. So this leaf needs a little darker shadow here, and I take my rubellite and I add some depth along the veins and around the edges of the flower. You can go ahead and take the same coral berry, the lighter color, and blend the darker marker. Or if you feel no, this isn't working, you take water and dilute your color. So I'm going to add a little more depth with my pen here. This pen also has a fine tip which can help you go to the nooks and crannies and add some definition. If you want a light application, this is perfect. The fine tip of the marker. And here I have my next petal. So this is how we are going to add some depth to our flowers, and I will just do it now and not talk much, just speed it up so that you see how we do it, and you can add more color if you want, and if not, you can skip it. So here is my panel almost ready. The other thing that is left is adding a little more definition to our background. So after we have highlighted our flowers and added some depth to the flowers, we will just take this desert night and I am going to run across with this pen just around my leaves and petals. We already have a dark depth behind our flowers, but this will just add the shadow enough to pop your flowers up. So next what I'm going to do is dilute even this a bit so that I don't have harsh lines, and blend it with my darker background that I have. There is one more way to do this, is after you have done with your gray marker, get your rubellite and blend your rubellite onto the gray marker, that later you will blend with water onto your background. So this pen is perfect to get inside those small gaps between the leaves and the petals. Here it was left. Let me just. So you are actually diffusing the gray either with a marker or with water, whatever suits you, because these are water based markers and they blend very well. Let us do a little of shadow here for our flower. I don't want to create much shadow where we have the sunlight, but yes, here we want dark areas. Also, if you like my work, if you like the techniques and the way I showcase the products, I would request you to shop via my affiliate link. It is mentioned in the description, also on my blog. I regularly share sale and how you can combine the latest sale to get great deals. So you can follow me up on Instagram and check them out as well. Here again, for my lower floral bunch, I go ahead and add my gray, and along with gray I am going to add orange. So now we have orange blending into with gray. If you add a bit of water, it will reduce in intensity. You go ahead and just blend your gray with the orange and a little bit of water on your brush, and we are almost done with our card. I will add a little orange on the sides of these flowers, or the orange isn't showing much. Let us just try a little of magenta. I want just a halo effect of the shadow. Yeah, this works good. This rubellite. And then go over with a little damp brush. Also, there is another way you can add a little more shadow. So I have a little shadow that needs to be put here. This is too intense to put just straight from the pen, so I dilute, I add a little color on a slick surface and pick that color up with a damp brush. And here I get a dark gray without getting it very intense, but just perfect to add the depth to my behind my branches. And so this way you can use your watercolor markers to get some color and use it like when you need just a light wash. I hope you have enjoyed coloring, and we are just going to finish our coloring, and this is it. Our panel is ready, almost. Only the last touches, the fine touches are left, for which I am using, so we have the stamens here, stamen of the flowers, which can be green, which can be yellow. I am using this water based marker, chamomile ink, well, or let me try warm sunshine. Yeah, I think warm sunshine is a little darker. I am adding warm sunshine, and I will not color these star like upper area, because I will color it with white gel pen and add a little bit of pop of white onto my stamens. So usually the stamens of the bougainvillea have this white pollen area, and with a white gel pen I am adding little spots of white. The star is now white. Here also I add white, and this protruding area white. So here we have our panel ready. How do you convert it into a card is all up to you. You can cut it up, you can use eclipse die cutting, or just add a plain white sentiment. I have die cut hello thrice and added it on foam tape, and with white matting I've added onto a black top folding cardstock. You can do the same, or you can go ahead and frame it and give it to a friend. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and would give me a follow. Please like this tutorial so others also who are interested in stamping and coloring and making cards can see this tutorial. Thank you very much. See you around. Bye bye.